Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another comedy and drama night. Tonight, I will be reviewing Patton, released in 1970. Directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, from a script by Francis Ford Coppola and Edmund H. North. Starring George C. Scott, Karl Malden, David Bauer, Michael Bates, Carl Michael Vogler, Edward Benz, and John Doucette. Now, this was one of my dad's favorite war films of all time. As you may have seen on his top 10 war films list that I put up here not too long ago. And, I mean, we used to watch this film all the time, me and him. And I became as big a fan of this film as he was. In fact, he had the soundtrack on an audio cassette back when those things were a thing. And it had his opening speech right before that awesome score by Jerry Goldsmith for this film. And that speech by George C. Scott at the very beginning of this film, I listened to that so many times on that audio tape that I memorized it. I can quote it to this day. He said it. I want you to remember that no bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country. Amen. All this stuff you've heard about America not wanting to fight and wanting to stay out of the war is a lot of horse dung. Americans traditionally love to fight. All real Americans love the sting of battle. When you were kids, you all admired the champion marble shooter, fastest runner, the big league ball players, the toughest boxers. Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war, because the very thought of losing is hateful to Americans. Now, I'm not going to do it at all, but the vision of him standing in front of that American flag doing this kick-ass speech to his men, it immediately just enthralled you and brought you into the film and made you immediately interested in Patton as a character. And George C. Scott didn't even want that to be the opening. He wanted it to be later, where that speech was supposed to have gone originally in the original script. But Franklin J. Schaffner, the director of this film, he said, no, this needs to go at the beginning to set up everything to come. And he was right. He was right, because once that scene happens, you are totally invested in Patton as a character. And George C. Scott's performance from that scene and onward into this film is what drives this story forward. It doesn't matter the rest of the actors around him. They're very well done performances around him. The one that does stand out the most out of all the other actors is, of course, Karl Malden playing General Omar M. Bradley. Now, he plays the character like he's the opposite of Patton. And, you know, from what I've read about Bradley, that is the case. Patton was a kind of a general that was not willing to compromise. He was going to say what he meant. Didn't matter who he pissed off, Bradley was the kind that he was given orders, he'd go do it, He wasn't the type that was going to, come in and question the authority figures and stuff. And that was the reason that, he advanced higher than Patton, and probably why they had a bit of a animosity with one another, because Patton did have to serve under him eventually. And a lot of that is portrayed pretty well in this film, with the performances of George C. Scott and Karl Malden as the characters. They really do shape this film and make it such an interesting film. And like I said, the score by Jerry Goldsmith is so well done. That iconic theme. I mean, it was so good, so well done, and it fit this film so well. And even though the sequence where Patton slaps the soldier who's suffering from shell shock, it was a combination of two things that really happened in real life with Patton. He slapped one soldier or something, and the other one he just, I guess he just berated or something. I don't know. But they basically combined the slapping with this one soldier here. Shut up! Because it did get Patton into a lot of trouble doing that. In real life, too, where he did it to the two soldiers that he did, That sequence was pretty cool. I love this later sequence as well, where he's talking to this Russian, and they got a translator between him and the Russian, and the line there between the two of them is so cool, because the Russian wants to have a drink with Patton. And Patton tells
him that I do not care to drink with him or any other Russian son of a bitch.
The person doesn't want to actually translate that. He says, no, you tell him exactly how I said it. And the translator does, and then this line happens.
The general says he thinks that you are a son of a bitch, too.
Okay. I'll drink to that. One son of a bitch to another.
That was such a great sequence. I don't know if that really happened, or if that's just fiction, but it works for the character of Patton. So this film, because it was one of my dad's favorite films of all time, it does have a really soft place in my heart always. And I just love it. So I'm going to give Patton from 1970. I'm going to give this film a 10 out of 10. To me, it is a perfect war film. It is a perfect encapsulation of Patton as a character, even though some of it might be, inaccurate. I don't care. It brings him to life as a character, and it makes you invested in him as a person. So I think it works. But what do you guys think of Patton? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you'll be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area right now where you can request a movie, TV show, or a ranking video of your choosing. And when I review that film or whatever it is, it will go on the Plus area for all Plus members to view before it goes live on the channel. So if you want to get interactive, now's your chance. Well, that's the end of another comedy and drama night. If you missed last week's comedy and drama night, check out the link above. Or if you missed any of the videos during comedy and drama night, check out this playlist and get caught up on anything you've missed.